Namaskar and welcome to day 19 of our Dhanurmasa Satsang. Lakshmi Natha Samarambham Natha Yamuna Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Yo Nityamachyuta Padambuja Yukma Rugma Vyamohatastaditarani Trinaya Mene Asmadguror Bhagavatosya Dayaika Sindho Ramanujasya Charanau Sharanam Prapadye आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम् यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारी परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकं कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम् वेदवेद्ये परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदप्राचेतसादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना. So with prayers at the lotus feet of Sri Rama and Guru, let us continue to our topic for today. So yesterday we saw how Guha gave all the hospitality, but Rama refused to use any of the comforts, and how Lakshmana was feeling bad to see Sita and Rama sleeping on the ground like that. And then how they send back Sumantra to Ayodhya. Rama tells Sumantra that you should be going back to Ayodhya. So next what happens is Rama asks Guha to arrange for a boat, and Guha arranges that boat to take them across the Ganga. So in that boat, sitting in that boat, Rama, Sita and Lakshmana cross the river. As they are going and they reach the middle of the Ganga river, Sita offers prayers to Ganga Mata. She prays, saying that this Dasharatha's son has set out on a mission to keep his father's promise. And after we finish this Vanavasa period, please bless us so that we are able to complete this period in a proper way. And then when we are coming back, I will again come and offer worship to you. So please bless that our journey may be safe and we are able to complete it in the expected manner. So she offers prayers like that. Now, once they reach the other side, they go to the ashram, they visit, they pay their respects to Bharadwaja Rishi. And then they ask him, what is a good place for us to go and stay where people are not going to be there, because they don't want to be troubled by people coming and trying to, offer them comforts. So then Bharadwaja Rishi guides them, saying that this is the way forward. If you go like this, you will reach Chitrakoot. So that is a very beautiful place and you can stay there for some time. So like that, with Bharadwaja Rishi's guidance, they move on further there. Now, as they enter into the boat and they are going, Sumantra has been watching them and he keeps watching until finally he is not able to see them anymore. The width of the Ganga river is so large that it is not possible for anyone to look and see what is happening on the other bank of the river. So Sumantra watches till they disappear from sight, and then very sadly, he has no other alternative. He returns back to Ayodhya. Now here, there is one interesting event. This event is not explained in Valmiki Ramayana, nor does it appear in Kamba Ramayana, but in Tulsi Ramcharitmanas, there is this event which is described, and that is the story of the boatman called as Kevat. Now, in Valmiki Ramayana, it is that Guha arranges the boat, and Guha's boatman takes them across, and that is that. But in this Tulsi Ramcharitmanas, there's a very beautiful episode which is described where this boatman called Kevat is the one who is going to ferry them across the river. So he has his boat ready, but then he says, I will not allow you to board my boat. So they are all surprised. Rama, Lakshmana, and Sita are very surprised. Why is he saying something like this? He says, no, I have heard people talking that it seems you went to one ashram somewhere and you touched one stone with your feet, or the dust of your feet went and fell on that stone, and that stone got converted into a Rishi Patni. What will I do? Suppose you step into my boat and my boat turns into a woman, then what will I do? How will I take care of her? How will I feed her? I'm already having a lot of difficulties in my life. I don't have so much money as to be able to feed another person. So Rama very laughingly says, okay, fine, then what is the solution that you propose? How do we get around this problem of yours? So he says, no, you have to do one thing. Let me wash your feet first so that there is no dust at all remaining. Then I can be sure that nothing is going to no magic will happen. It was the dust from your feet which made that stone into a woman. So if I wash off your feet completely, then no dust is sticking to your feet. Then there is no chance that my boat will have the touch of the dust and become a woman. So let me wash your feet, he says. So Rama says, okay, fine. And he agrees to that. So this um, Kevat, he brings one vessel-like thing which is made of wood. It is not a vessel actually; it's rather the bark of a tree or something like that, which he brings. And then Rama is standing and he puts water into that and he says, "You place your feet into this." So once Rama puts his feet into that, it's like kind of unsteady because that wooden bark piece. So Rama is not able to balance. So this Kevat laughs and he says, "Why are you imbalanced like this? You put your hands on my head and hold on to me so that you don't lose your balance while I'm washing your feet." So Rama puts his hands on the head of Kevat, and that Kevat, till that time, he was acting as if he knows nothing. Now, the minute this washing of the feet is done, he allows Rama to step aside and he says, "Okay, now you can enter my boat." So Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana enter the boat and they're waiting, but Kevat is not coming. So they're saying, "What is this? Come on now, let us go." Kevat says, "No, no, wait. Your Charnamrit I have got now. This holy water it is. Don't I know that? And see, I managed to get your blessings also. I made you put your hands on my head. So wait, let me share this Charnamrit with all my people. My wife, my family, all my other boatmen in my community. I want to share this with all of them." And he does that. He calls all the people, he gives them that Charnamrit, that water which has become holy by washing the feet of Lord Rama. And then he sits in the boat along with them. Now they go across, he takes them across, and there, when they get off, Rama is sad because this boatman has brought me across, but I don't have anything to offer him in return. I don't have any money to give him. So when he's feeling like this, Sita understands his pain. And what she does is, you remember she had been given those ornaments to wear. So what she does is she removes the ring from her finger and gives it to Rama. And Rama gives that to Kevat and says, "Here, my dear boatman, take this. This is the payment for having brought us across." Now Kevat is very angry. He says, "What is this? Why are you giving me payment?" Rama says, "No, no, you brought us across here. That's why I'm paying you." So Kevat says, "How can I accept payment from you? We are both belonging to the same profession." Now, hearing this, Lakshmana gets really very angry. He says, "What nonsense! You are just a normal, ordinary boatman, and what are you doing comparing yourself with Rama? And how can you say that you are both of the same profession? He is a Kshatriya prince, and you are just a boatman. What do you mean by saying you are both same profession?" And then this Kevat very lovingly he says, "No, I am a boatman. Yes, I agree. I am a boatman. I am taking people across this Ganga river. And what is Prabhu Sri Ram doing? He is taking people across this Bhavasagar of samsara. He is taking people across this sagara of birth and death. So don't we belong to the same profession? Then how can I take money from him?" He says. So this was the bhava of Kevat. And from this we can see how it does not require great education and learning to be able to recognize the divinity of the Lord. Time and again we have seen people like this Kevat, people like Jatayu, people like Shabari, right? All of them, that when it was comes to Krishna Avatara also, there was one lady who was selling jamun fruits. All these people, they know the reality of the Lord. And unfortunately, many times people like Brahma and Indra, they don't recognize the greatness of the Lord and they commit apacharas. So this, from this story of Kevat, there is a lot for us to learn also. Now, let us continue with our story. So that Kevat episode comes in Tulsi Ramcharitmanas. Now, for now, let us leave Ramasita and Lakshmana in Chitrakuta and let us go back towards Ayodhya. So, what had happened after Rama departed from Ayodhya? Dashratha was feeling that as soon as Rama went away, Dashratha felt that his eyesight is failing. He is not able to see clearly now. So, in fact, he tells Kausalya, he says, "Ramam me anugata drishtir अद्यापि न निवर्तते न त्वां पश्यामि कौसल्ये साधु मां पाणिना स्पृशा." He says, "Oh Kausalya, please touch me with your hand. I want to feel at least my sensation of touch is there or not. My eyesight has got extinguished. It is as if my eyes went away with Rama. And now that Rama is gone, they are not able to come back. So it is not, all this time I thought they were my eyes, but actually they were Rama's eyes. And that is why when Rama has gone, I'm not able to see anything now." That is the condition of Dasharatha. and he faints, he falls to the ground. Then they lift him up, and he says that I don't want to be here in this palace of Kaikeyi. Take me to Kausalya's palace. Let me be cared for by her. Let her and Sumitra take care of me. And therefore, they take him and go there. As he's there grieving and sorrowful and all the time, feeling bad about all this, what has happened, his health very rapidly deteriorates. And then, about another few days after that, maybe 2 or 3 days, Sumantra comes back. You remember he had gone along with Rama up to the Ganga river, and Rama had asked him to go back. So now Sumantra returns. Now, when Sumantra comes, Dasharatha asks him that what did they say? What were their final words to you? Did they have any message for me? So then Sumantra conveys that Rama is told that I should take care of you, I should take care of the Ranis, and that I should guide Bharata and all that. But more than Rama, I am surprised there was one message which Lakshmana has given for you. So Dasharatha is wondering, he says, what did Lakshmana say? So then Sumantra conveys, and Valmiki Shloka here says, Aham tavan maharaja pitritvam nopalakshye bhratra bhrata bharta cha bandhuscha pita cha mamaragavaha. I do not consider Dasharatha Raja as my father. For me, Rama is the brother, lord, relative, and my father also. This was the message that Lakshmana conveys. Here, the Acharyas explain how when Sumantra was conveying, he was hesitating to tell. So he only said the first part. He said, tell Dasharatha that I don't consider him as my father. And Dasharatha was listening, and then till that time, Dasharatha was very dull. But the minute he heard this statement from Sumantra, he sits up alert and he says, is that all that he said? Or there was something else that he said after that? So Sumantra says, yeah, definitely he told something else. And then he tells this, Bhrata Bharta cha Bandhuscha Pita cha Mamaragavaha. He told that from now on, Rama is the brother, Rama is my lord, Rama is my everything, and he is only my father. Go and tell my father this. And hearing the statement of Lakshmana, Dasharatha starts feeling very happy. He declares that I don't know what punya I have done. Okay, I have done I have lot of fortune, good fortune that I got a son like Rama, but I feel I am more blessed to have a son like Lakshmana. So here again, Dasharatha also is reiterating that this bhava of Lakshmana, of considering Rama as everything for him, is the right bhava that anybody should have. So further now days passed, and on the sixth night after Rama has left, Dashratha's health is totally failing and he's just hanging on by a thread kind of situation. He's very frail, he's very weak, and at that point he remembers and he tells Kausalya, he narrates this story of how he had committed a mistake once and got a curse for it. So he tells Kausalya, once when I was very young, even before I was married, I was very proud of my prowess in archery. I was so good at archery that just from hearing the sound I could direct my arrow in that direction, and I could shoot by hearing the sound. I didn't need to see the animal to be able to shoot at it. I could just hear the sound and I would know where that animal is, and I would hit my arrow and it would hit the target. That was my prowess and I was very proud of it, and I was young in age, so I was very always in an excitable state also. So one fine day I went deep into the forest. It became late at night and it was raining and it was very bad weather, but as I was in the forest I could hear the sound of an animal drinking water from the river. It sounded to me like as if an elephant was picking water from the river with its trunk. And in that excitement of mine, I wanted to test my ability. So, hearing that sound, I shot my arrow in the darkness at the direction of that sound. And to my shock and surprise, it was not an animal which I hit. That gurgling sound had been made because there was a small boy there. There was a young boy who was filling water into his pitcher. And that I rushed there to see what is this. When I hit the arrow, within a few seconds, I heard a human voice scream. So I rushed there and I saw this state. That was the boy called Shravan Kumar. And he saw me and he called out in agony. He said, "What wrong have I done? Why have you hit the arrow at me? What did I do to you? Why have you harmed me like this?" And then he told me, "It's okay, I am dying. You please pull this arrow out from me. But my old parents are there. They are blind. They are totally dependent on me. There is nothing they can do by themselves. So you please go to them and at least convey to them that I have been killed like this," he says. So hearing this, Dashratha is full of agony. He's so shocked at what a mess he has created. How could he do such a, a ghore aparadha like this? How could he kill somebody like this? And then he has to listen to the boy. There is no alternative. So he pulls the arrow out. That boy dies, and he takes that pot of filled up with water, and he goes to where the parents are. There, those parents, hearing the footsteps, they say, "Oh, Shravana, oh, my son, you have come back. Why did it take you so long? Come on, quickly, we are thirsty. Give us the water." And then, as Dasharatha is going to give the water, they say, "Why don't you speak? Why are you silent?" So then Dasharatha has no alternative. He tells them that, "I am not your son. I am Raja Dasharatha. And this is what happened. I made a terrible mistake, and please forgive me, but this is what I have done." And he confesses to his crime. The parents are so agitated, they are so shocked, they are so sorrowful, and they're so full of anger also, that the father of that Shravan Kumar curses this Dasharatha. He says, "You have killed our son, and now we cannot live without our son. Our life is not different from our son's life. We were so fond of him, we were so dependent on him, that now that he is not living, how can we survive? We are also going to die. But I curse you that just as I am dying in separation from my son, you also will die in separation from your son." And saying that curse, that father and mother perform the last rites for that son by offering water, and then they light a funeral pyre and they also die. They give up their lives. They die in agony like that. So this was the curse. So now Dasharatha narrates that curse to Kausalya, and he says, "This is what is going to happen to me. I know this. This had to happen. Now that Rama has gone and I'm in this terrible agony, it is bound to happen that I'm going to die." And like that, telling that only, in intense agony of that separation from Rama, Dasharatha dies. Now, when Dasharatha has died, can you imagine this condition? This Dasharatha had four sons, and not one of them is there. So it is decided by Vasishta, Acharya, and all the other ministers that Bharata and Shatrughna have to be brought back from Kekaya, and until then, the last rites cannot be performed. So it is decided to preserve the body of Dasharatha in an oil trough, a big drum in which oil is put, and the body is put into that to keep it in, you know, um, undegraded condition. So that is what happens, and messengers are sent to bring back Bharata. So we will pause our story for here for today. And what is it that we can learn from all these events we have described today? First thing, when we said that Sita was offering prayers to Ganga Mata when they were crossing the river, that again shows us what is the great importance of this Ganga river, right? We know how Ganga originated at the time when Lord took the Vamana Avatara, and then he grew to the gigantic uh, size of the Trivikrama Avatara. So at that point of time, when that in the Trivikrama Avatara, when the Lord raised his leg upwards, it went right up to the Satyaloka of Brahma. And that time, the from his Kamandalu, Brahma offered worship to the holy foot of the Lord which had come there. And that water which Brahma offered is what came down to earth as Ganga. We also know the story of how Ganga was actually brought down to earth by Bhagiratha, who was one of the people in this Raghuvamsha itself, right? And that how great is the importance of Ganga. Till today, it is told that if you take bath in the Ganga, then all your sins are washed away. In the region of the Ganga, there is no what you say, nothing called purity, impurity. On the one hand, people are taking a holy dip, and on the other hand, there are cremation rites being performed for departed souls. So the Ganga is so pure that she purifies everything that comes into contact with her, and she is our mother. So, in fact, there's a shloka which explains Gita Ganga cha Gayatri Govindeti Ridhiste Chaturgakara Samyuktaha Punarjanmana Vidyate. Somebody who has these four gakaras, these four things, they are uh, items which begin with the word ga, with the sound ga. So anybody who has these four things, for that person, there is no punarjanma. There is no more birth in this world again. They get liberated from the cycle of birth and death. What are these four things? Gita, Ganga, Gayatri, and Govindanama. Gita is the Bhagavad Gita. Ganga is the holy river Ganga. Gayatri is the mantra. And Govindanama is the name of Lord Govinda. So, out of all these, whichever we can, all that we can, all that we are eligible to have in our mind and heart and on our lips, we should keep doing that at all points of time. We should remember these, we should pray to these, and we should make sure that we don't have Punarjanma again. Okay, then we already saw the episode of Kevat, and we said that even a simple boatman knew the divine nature of Rama. Then what is preventing us? We have so many Leelas of the Lord. We have so many acharyas who have given us vyakhyanas. We have so many scriptures with us, and we know we are having this satsanga. We know that the Lord is the supreme being in this world. Then we know the divine nature. What stops us from chanting his name and praying to him? Let us do that. Just like Kevat, let us have that same bhava that we want the Lord to bless us at all times. Then we saw how the curse of Shravan Kumar's parents took its toll. So this tells us that generally destiny, something that is cursed, something that is part of your prarabdha, that cannot be undone. Therefore, we should be very careful. Now, we have no control over what we did in past janmas, but at least in this janma, what all we are doing, we should be careful about what we are doing. Because if we do things which are grossly wrong, then we experience the results of that in this birth itself. So let us take care of our actions. Let us make sure that we don't do anything which causes people to curse us, because curses can be very harmful to us. And then, as we said, Dashratha had 4 sons. So many years he had no children at all. Then, thanks to the Putra Kameshti Yaga, he got 4 sons, and all loving. None of them were the kind that they would neglect him. They were all loving sons. And yet, at the time of death, not one of those 4 is there near Dasharatha. There is nobody to comfort him. None of his sons are there to comfort him at the time of his death. And to such an extent that the body has to wait for the final rites to be performed. So this also tells us that whatever we have in this world, we may have a lot of property, we may have a lot of money, we may have a lot of people, all that is temporary. We don't know what will be our status at the time when we are dying. The only thing that is there with us at all times is the Lord. So if we, at that time of death, we should be able to remember the Lord. How did Dasharatha die? He died thinking of this curse and how Rama has gone away from him. But it is said that Dasharatha only attained Swarga. He did not get moksha. What about us? What will be our condition at the time when we have to depart? It is told, prayana samaye kafavata pittai. So at that point of time, when kapha, vata, pitta are tormenting us, when it is time to depart, who knows what will be our state of mind? Will we be able to remember the Lord? Will we be able to chant his name? We can't say. That is why from now only we should make a practice of praying to the Lord. And that is why we should surrender ourselves to the Lord, because the Lord has promised that he is going to take care of us. If we think of him now, he will take care of us at the time when our death comes. So let us make an effort. Not that we are worried about what will happen at death, but throughout our life also, we have to keep chanting the Lord's name, keep praying to him, and ask for his grace to be on us. So with that, we will pause here for today. Let us offer Kritagnyata and pray to the Lord for his blessings to always be on us. Mangalam Kosalendraya Mahaniya Gunavdaye Chakravarti Tanujaya Sarvabhaumaya Mangalam Veda Vedanta Vedyaya Megha Shamalamurtaye Pumsam Mohana Rupaya Punyashlokaya Mangalam Pitrabhaktaya Satatam Bhratrabhisa Sitaya Nandita Lokaya Ramabhadraya Mangalam Srimate Raghuviraya Setu Langita Sindhave Jitarakshasarajaaya रणधीराय मङ्गलम् मङ्गलाशासनपरैर्मदाचार्यपुरोगमैः सर्वैश्च पूर्वैराचार्यैः सत्कृतायास्तु मङ्गलम्. Thank you, everybody. We will meet again tomorrow. Namaskar.